projects, rich is whipping that black hard. Rhymes insane, my skills is whipping that crack hard. Look at LeBron James. The black guard, got big lips and black bars. As soon as I leave Earth, it's back to the stars. Right to job lives with jewelers and girls. Just ask nods if I rule the world. Yo, my mental vision, setting up intuition. And you really don't have nothing if you intuition. I work with light just to give birth to life. I was born in all forms in the perfect night. The black guard, got big lips and black bars. As soon as I leave Earth, it's back to the stars. I am the ruler, just like the Lion of Judah. My third eye was built like an iron computer that's dark matter and deep thought making your heart shatter. I sleepwalk, talking with smart chatter, so I don't need you to ride or die with me. I got ancestors that vibe from the other side with me, and they beam up life after death. God knows it's on the eyes, cause the light suppress my priceless flesh. The final copy look like Anunnaki. Black God, got big lips and black bra. In the projects, wrist is whipping that black hard. I'm just saying, skills is whipping that crack hard. Look at LeBron James. The black God, got big lips and black bra. As soon as I leave Earth, it's back to the stars. Right to job lives with jewelers and girls. Just ask nods if I rule the world. Yo, the black God, got big lips and black broads. In the projects, rich is whipping that black hard. My rhymes the same, my skills is whipping that crack hard. Look at LeBron James, that nigga's a black heart. And you wonder why we spit lead. Just the whole raps, niggas got big heads like old Max. Way that I'm writing is more than vague. This is the age of enlightenment. We the Moors in Spain. Now that your honor, I pray to a black vagina. Even the Pope prays to the black Madonna. In the sun, I shine as bright as I be. I'm the greatest of all time, like Muhammad Ali. And when I die, baptized in the fire. Only fly at night, black skies are higher. Prior to job, my lives with jewelers and girls. Just sex nods if I rule the world, rubies and pearls. The black God, got big lips and black bra. In the projects, rich is whipping that black hard. I'm just saying, my skills is whipping that crack hard. Look at LeBron James. The black God, got big lips and black bra. As soon as I leave Earth, it's back to the stars. Right to job lives with jewelers and girls. Just ask nods if I rule the world. Yo, the black God, from infinite to infinite stars, it's infinite light. My life's got an infinite charge. The instruments that implement to give strength to your heart. The temple within, the imprint, mimic the art. Into the dark, the dragon spark the fathom from a higher consciousness. I talk with atoms, I live in the land, and I live in the stars, original man. I am the image of God, call me Tut, I'm Amen. I cut diamonds, so as long as I live, nothing can stop shining. You gon' need to be in the bins to drive me crazy. Live on CNN, hearing cries from Haiti. You know the people down there trying to hide them babies. The black gods, surrounded in light, attract stars. Black gods, surrounded in light, attract stars. The black gods, surrounded in light, attract stars.
I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all time. All of you, I know you got it. I know you got it. But the man didn't come. I'm going to show you how great I am. I told you, I'm the real champion. I told you, I'm the champion of all. All of you know. All of my critics, all of you know.
Just to figure out you wasn't dreaming in the first place. Full of souls, gangsters coming up as a youngster. Pussy and money, the only language I clung to. Cling to, I mold myself up to become one. Ain't you happy? I chose rap, I'm a monster. Streets deceiving, can't believe my achievements. Cultural strata, personas that of a non-meter. The town need not except a pot of beef. For cold winters, tattoos got my summer sleeveless. To my G's on the flee from the coppers. Stiff bodies on freeze and funeral polish. From the slums I come up a phoenix. Caked up trying to take what I'm eating. Came up a dismissive kid. Lucky if you allowed to witness this. Savvy mouth, Wild Harley, a man's man who would've knew the beach houses and wild parties. Jezebels and Stella McCartneys. For years, all that, how can I not be dead? This old German said I was a thug with a naughty head. Looked at my Benz and called that a Nazi sled. With a face like he wondered where I got my bread. Probably only stones he see from my shows overseas. From crime to rhyme, my story is I'm from the home of the thieves. America. Black cop, copper plea. The type of shit make you stop and think. We in chronic need of a second look of the law books. And the whole race dichotomy. Too many rappers, athletes, and actors. But not enough niggas in NASA who give you the latest dances, trends, and fashion. But when it come to residuals, they look past us. Woman into the fabric, they can't stand us even in white tees, blue jeans, and red bandanas. America. Pay attention. Wake up. America. This is not what you think it is. America. Pay attention. This is not what you think it is. Assassinations, diplomatic relations, killed indigenous people, built a new nation. Involuntary labor took a knife, split a woman neighbor, took a premature baby, let a man see you rape her. If I could travel to the 1700s, I push a wheelbarrow full of dynamite through your covenant. Let her sit on the Senate and tell the whole government y'all don't treat women fair. She read about herself in the Bible, believe that she the reason sin is here. You played her with an apron like bring me my dinner, dear. She the nigga here. Ain't we in the free will? Death penalty in Texas, kill young boys and girls, barbarity. I'm in a double law casualty, bugging how I made it out the hood, dazzle me. How far are we really from third world savagery? When the empire fall, imagine how crazy that'll be.
Peace, 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 peace. You're now rocking to your brother Ahanu Kiel with the spirits of the Tontonous ones flowing through me. Shout out to all the Aborigines north and south, as well as all the conjoining islands. Peace to all the gods and peace to all the goddesses. Um, yeah, man, let's just do a little bell real quick. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. For the most part, see what we got up in here, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Been a long time. I miss you guys. For the most part, shout out to everybody. Let's see what we got up in here. Okay, I might drop the link. It depends on how long I feel like doing this build. Um, Let me just get into it, right? As far as this Indian slash Native American community we in, because I don't even think a lot of people are Aborigines. I think people is one has a one track mind when it comes to this history, and I don't think a lot of people is well researched as they think they are. A lot of people, they came into this community through them being told they was Indians, through YouTube. Despite the fact if your grandparents or someone in your family may have told you you was an Indian, a lot of people seem to ignore that fact and came to YouTube to learn that. You know what I'm saying? I myself, outside of YouTube, just by doing research, has come to that understanding that I was a descendant of what you would consider to be Aborigines, coming, like I said, coming through this whole paradigm, looking at it from a Native American standpoint, thinking, oh, these people stole our culture, looking at Native Americans, thinking that we have the same history as them. And I don't think a lot of people understand that we don't. A lot of people don't understand that we are not them people. You know, like me, understanding a lot of these terms, and even the term Indian. I broke the term Indian down numerous times. I have yet to see anybody in this community break the term Indian down or even come to an understanding of what the term Indian means. Um, Despite, I don't care. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't care who told you that, because a lot of people hold that dear, to family and ancestry and all that, right? But when you do research and you study and you listen, you know, um, observation is the key aspect of it. And, coming into this whole mind state, you will understand that a lot of the history and a lot of things that we have been taught has not held up to the standard, or not held up to, the truth that we hold it to. So with that being said, you know, um, studying the Americas, right? Not even studying the exact people in the Americas, studying the Americas, because that's the key aspect to it, is studying the Americas, not studying the history of what they give you as saying that we're Indians. And, like I said, these people don't know who the fuck we are. And some people know exactly who we are, but for the most part, people who write these articles and publish these books and things of that nature, they look at the indigenous people here, or not indigenous people. I'm gonna say aborigines, okay? Because aborigines mean first inhabitants. So whatever the inhabitants of this land was, all of them wasn't considered to be what we consider to be Indians. You speak to people out here in the real world, right? You tell them, you can't use the term aborigine because you got to break it down sometime. So sometimes you might just say you're an Indian, right? And that term is an observation, right, of a person to understand that you've been here, but it's not a destination to who you entirely are. And when I say it's not a destination, because, studying Americas, you'll realize that it was multiple different cultures and multiple different titles or terms that they consider the people of this land to be. Okay. Now we happen to go with the more common term, which will be Indian, because that's the observation that we've been here. We've been here prior to what we considered any European invasion. Okay. Now, first getting into this, you hear stories, um 1619. Then when you go further, you start hearing about um I'm trying to think of my man's name. I can't think of his name right now. You start hearing about Virginia and Roanoke Island and all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? And Christopher Columbus and Vespucci and all these other people that came here, right? Um, but a lot of these stories are, I'm not gonna say they false, but they're just stories, okay? Because I'm not saying we, because I'm not in the same understandings as a lot of people. See, understand this, right? Before I spoke, I listened, and I used my common sense. I didn't just start speaking without listening. And I think that's what a lot of people do, because some people have a platform and some people can just come out and say what they want to say. And people out here, it's a lot of us that's really lost. A lot of our people lost. A lot of people that come to these platforms and they seeking the truth. And that's the starting point, is to seek the truth. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we get caught up in what we think the truth is, to the point to where you know, we fall in these certain categories among other people. Now, if you look on my symbol right there, right, that's a symbol of the Sumerians, right? Or Anunnaki, or whatever you want to consider it to be, right? Now me, I'm a little past that Indian shit to where I already then did a lot of studies of this continent and the many different observations and the different um I want to say different cultures, which some of them are pretty much the same cultures, but some of them are just bastardization cultures. For example, right? You look at foreigners, right? A lot of foreigners have the same style as what we consider to be black people or African Americans, but they're not the originator of this culture. You'll see Mexicans, Chinese, white people, shit, people from different parts of, or what we assume to be different parts of Europe and just different parts of the world, period. We see them coming here mimicking our style. They might dress like we dress, and it might just be vice versa, because sometimes you see so-called melanated people dressing like Europeans, or what we assume to be Europeans. Because remember, when Europeans came here, they wasn't wearing clothes for the most part. All of them did not have clothes. You'll see motherfuckers wearing potato sacks and just wearing, hand-me-downs, or just wearing, the dilapidated, how do you say, entire for that point. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the cultures, as well as dressing and, just putting it on, came from us, right? All right, so let's understand that, right? That even with these other cultures, they are bastardized. Like, so you'll see, like, a lot of people, a lot of these terms, we kind of reject them, but we can't extract the history from it, because we are so programmed to think a certain way. You understand? We're so programmed to think a certain way. Now, okay, let's go back into this, right? So, all right. So, me myself, if I represent myself, I represent myself as a what we consider to be an aborigine. The reason I represent myself to be an aborigine, because that means first inhabitants. Okay. Now, all of the many cultures that you hear when you study this, because a lot of people is not well studied. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A lot of people out here is not well studied, man. A lot of people just came off the porch fucking a year ago or 2 years ago and think that, because you listen to a certain individual, that individual has the truth for everything. Ain't none of us got the entire truth. But what it is about, it's about connecting the dots and being a so-called Aboriginal investigator. Because you have to investigate the findings, you have to investigate the history, you have to investigate the culture, and you have to investigate the science. So going through that paradigm, you will find many different people, if you are a student of this, that you will have to extract information from in order for you to build your perspective on your history, on your entire history. Your family, they can give you history. The genealogy, that can give you history. Some of it may tell a story and some of it may not tell a story. You might have to go a lot deeper than that. Okay. So I think a lot of people, when it comes to this history, they are still on level one. They don't go past level one. They stay with the more conventional understanding of what this history of this continent, or what we call an Amaru key, or for that matter, Amaru kins, right? We stay within that circle. We don't like to step outside that circle, because stepping outside that circle among certain people, you can be ostracized, right? Me myself at this point in time, and all of the research, and I can just sit back and look 5 years ago, how you got a lot of Aborigine channels and A lot of people came together, outside of, African Americans ain't African. And on Facebook, what I'm saying, there was really no YouTube community that was talking about none of this. Now, like I said, I always give shout out to all those that I've learned from, because I have to put that respect, because they had the spirit, or they had the energy that I call the autonomous ones. Okay. Um, a lot of people call me A1. A lot of people refer to me as autonomous one. But autonomous one, after I had to, like, all right, let me stay right there real quick. All right. Now, in my understanding of this, right, there's different levels to this shit. Okay. For me, I had to study the world, right? I had to study the world. And studying the world is studying the going from Africa, and the different, historical, the different history, you know what I'm saying, that may have you looking at Chinese history, that may have you looking at Hindustan history, that may have you looking at European, or what we consider to be Europe history, and then back to when I said Africa, as well as the Americas. But for some reason, it seemed like the America history came last, right? It came last after studying the world, came back home to the Amaruki, right? So, through studying these different cultures, certain things stick out. The civilization, the science, definitely the science, as well as some parts of the history, right? So when you go through all of that, boom, certain things stand out. Like, let's say, for example, when we're dealing with Africa, right? But most of the most of the influence of Africa came from North Africa, or what we consider to be that region that's around the Mediterranean, and going into certain parts of Northern Africa. And then what we find Egypt, right? But throughout Egypt, we get the stories of Greek, Roman stories, um, and certain European stories that's connected even to the African history, right? Because outside of Northern Africa, most people, they only talk about the spiritual systems. They don't talk about no technology, or no influence that other Africans have. You might hear about you know rare occasions of certain Africans that might be from South, or what we consider to be South, or that direction, or West Africa. But most of the history in Africa is coming from an Egyptian standpoint. And most of the people who live in West Africa really don't have no connections to Egypt. But they claim it because they assume that's part of that land, right? Now, there are people who don't have nothing really to do with that culture or that history. And especially if you take it from the observation of the people that's there now. Now, we look at the Egyptians now, and because, if you don't do no real research, you won't know that them people are not the true Egyptians, right? Now, we could look all around the world and see that same observation, right? We could look over in China and see that the people in China are not the original people who inhabit that land. The same thing in Hindustan. We could look in Hindustan, which is India, and look over there and see that these people are not the original people that inhabited that land. Same thing with Africa. Because if you get deep enough, you'll find out that a lot of parts of Africa was uninhabited. Okay? Now you have to start really like, uninhabited. So where the fuck did these people come from? You understand what I'm saying? The same thing with Europe. If one do the history of Europe, you will make the observation that the people that's in Europe now are the original Europeans, right? Which they are not the original Europeans. And then they will tell you these fibrous stories. Oh yeah, well, people from North Africa came into Europe and came in there and took over Europe. And if you are not well studied, you will fall victim to that, and to that individual who he did the research for you, and then you formed your own perspective around his research. And that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people form their perspective around other people research and what they have done. Now, me myself, I don't I don't do research like that. If I see things that connect, I'm the type of person that always asks why. Why? Well, how did this connect? Unless it had to have influence of the same culture or the original people who inhabited or went to that area. Okay. So now what? Let's go back. So what I was saying about, like, how okay, like the Americas, for example, right? Most people, if it wasn't for certain individuals, they wouldn't even be talking about no pyramids in America. They wouldn't be talking about no structures. They wouldn't be talking about no science. They wouldn't be talking about a lot of goddamn things. And a lot of people are not well researched. They rely upon others to build their perspective, and they are regurgitating stories that other people constructed, as well as tying or connecting the dots theirself. Now, I'm sorry if most people think like that, or most people do their research like that. I have no control over that. If most people do their research according to what somebody else told them. Um, but understand this, right? When I first start looking at this, yeah, I was like, yeah, yeah, Indian, yeah, we got the Native American feathers, all that shit. The music they play, fucking what's them shits called? Damn, I can't think of the name of them shit. I'm tired as hell, y'all. Y'all gotta forgive me. Um, their whole culture, period. Okay, Native American culture, period. And a lot of stories that they tell us is false, because understand this, and I'm just saying this from my research and me being an outside thinker, not me taking what I heard somebody say, or not me taking everything literally that I fucking read. I don't take everything literally in these books, in these texts, in these articles, in these PDFs. I look for the common thing that connects the dots, because, like my brother nonetheless said, that America is a fucking crime scene. Okay. Now, in the research of the Americas, you'll find you'll find a lot of different things, or a lot of different cultures that you think that you are under the assumption that came from other places around the world. A lot of different cultures you would think that came from other places around the world. But then you have to ask yourself, like, maybe it's possible that all these cultures came from here. Now, if you don't research, or if you are trying to be somebody who a follower, because a lot of people followers, man. It's just a lot of followers that I see. I'm not a leader, but I damn sure ain't no one who directly follow any third dimensional being. Do I extract information from them? Yeah. But I don't agree with no one 100%. And that's people who come on my platform. That's people that's off my platform. That's people that's in books, people that's in universities. That's people just in every walks of life. You know, but one thing I'll do is I will definitely hear a person out. And depending on how much information they got, they will pretty much tell you what they don't know. A wise man told me, never ask someone what they don't know. Ask them what they do know. And they'll tell you everything that they don't know. And I hear people talking every day, all day about what they fucking don't know. Oh, because this person said it or this person said it. Let me tell you something, man. Ain't nobody in this community or in this so-called I don't even want to say community because I don't we ain't got no common unity. The only common unity we got is that we think that we are being oppressed, but we are being oppressed mentally. Because once you know who you are, and once you know who the people who you assume to be the oppressors are, then that kind of breaks that in half. You're no longer being oppressed because you realize that the people that are oppressing you are really um they are really not, they're only oppressing you by keeping you mentally oppressed. So when you deal with the whole slave thing and you break down slavery, right? It doesn't hold up to it. And you got many people today will still talk about fucking slaves and they haven't even looked the goddamn term up and did any research on the term. They're just so infatuated by some of the authors that might have said it, or some of the so-called scholars, or some of the Afrocentric people who may have said that we were slaves, and they never did the due diligence to even research the goddamn word. You understand? Never did the fucking research. But once you do the research and you understand that slavery is not a condition, it's actually a ethnicity, or it's a title that was placed upon um certain individuals who inhabited certain parts of, we don't even know where they came from. We don't even know where slaves or the Slavs or the Slavic people originated from. But if you do research, you will hear stories about a lot of these different people being created. Now, a lot of people found that far-fetched to understand, well, how can you create a human being or whatever? Because that is out their level of understanding. Just like a lot of this history is out their level of understanding. Period. Period. A lot of this history is outside their level of understanding. They don't understand half the stuff that comes out their mouth. You know, as far as being a leader, you can't lead nobody if you can't lead yourself. If you're mentally lost, then how can you lead anyone to do anything, right? If you're still relying or depending on other people to come in and give you information, like most of the things you see, right? Let's say, for example, right? Most leaders or most people that's up there, that's in the hierarchy, they have representatives. They have people who they rely upon, advisors. Okay, because even when you see people that's in these like CEOs and CFOs and fucking presidents of companies, they have advisors. They're not savvy in everything. That's why they have other people around them to give that do research, or that are known or well known in that particular area, to whether they can speak up for them. Like when you see the president of the United States come to the panel, right? He's not he's not educated on everything. So he has other people or other members of his staff or other members of his team that comes up and speak. Like, somebody might ask him a question and he'd be like, all right, well, come here, ask my advisor, my health advisor, or ask, like we see since with this whole COVID thing, they keep pulling this clown Fauci up, right? And other doctors and other things, because the president doesn't know everything, right? So that's how this whole information, or gathering this information about our history is. You know, we look at it's family. Most people ain't pay attention to their family. Most people don't get along with people in their family, right? But then you have some other people whose family is well knit, who, well, they look towards family members, you know what I'm saying, and they look up to certain family members, okay? But when it comes to finding out about this continent and finding out about the real, or trying to put the pieces together about this history of this continent, it goes well beyond that. It goes well beyond that. Because you have to listen to people who, such as anthropologists, such as archaeologists, certain people who does science, certain people who excavated a lot of these areas and can tell you different stories that you never heard before. And that's why I reference, like, platforms that are ran by Europeans, such as Coast to Coast, Stephen Quells, David Hatcher Childress. Um, it's a bunch of others that came through that so-called channel, or that so-called platform, and spoke upon a lot of different subjects dealing with this continent. Okay, and one thing I always heard them say, what, the so-called Native Americans were not responsible for the architect, the archaeology, or a lot of the structures, or a lot of the technology or technical advances that they found here. Now you got some people who will deviate, or who will basically distract you, or saying by certain people came here, and have you look at them for a lot of these different cultures and a lot of these different technology advancements that we had here, because we are under assumption that if you're out of the African American state of mind, and you're, like, now in a so-called Indian or Aborigine state of mind, then you have some people who just gravitate towards the more primitive aspects of that history. You'll see people have, different pictures of these hunter gatherers, or different pictures of these primitive as Indians. And these are even among people who you hold to a high extent or high regards. You know, for the most part, like I always say, and from my research, I've always researched, none of our fucking people wore no goddamn war bonnets. And motherfuckers, if you do research, you will find that out. I keep telling people we wore turbans, and people find that to be hilarious, right? That's only because they're babies to this shit, man. And I had to kind of understand that. That's why I stepped away for a while, you know. Um, well, shit, I'm actually stepping away for a little longer than that, because I got other areas of life that I have to that I gotta start working on. But as far as this history is concerned, I just tell people, go deeper than what they're giving you, if that even matters. And if it don't matters, when you hear somebody say something that you don't understand, or you don't have the knowledge of, sit down and fucking listen. Stop speaking about what you think you know, and listen to what certain individuals are saying, and then maybe you can do some research upon what these people are saying, not from what you think you know. It takes longer than a year, takes longer than 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, a decade, 2 decades to come into a full understanding of a lot of this history that was here. It takes hours and hours and hours of research to not just take a book literally. You have to take certain contents of that book and connect it to what areas or expertise that you are focusing on. You know what I'm saying? Every book that these people wrote are not to be taken literally, but it has certain clues in it or certain aspects of the truth that you can take and you can connect that to the history that you already heard. Now, back to what I was saying with Coast to Coast, right? Now, I've heard them talk about Poverty Point, the Mississippian culture. Um, I remember this one episode I was listening to. Um, I think it might have been David Hatcher Childress, I believe. He was saying how the Mississippian culture, they had a giant star that probably was like, he said, that went, I don't know if he was saying like maybe about maybe 10 yards. No, I'm sorry, 1,000 yards, okay? Because he's saying that this fucking star was huge, okay? And it was filled in with copper. And it was one of the central points of this culture that a lot of people don't talk about. I've heard them talk about how they pulled 7 foot men out of some of these mounds that had fur zook suits on and gold chains and gold teeth. Now this is coming from a European mind, and this is coming from his mouth, right? Now, can we find some of this stuff to be true? Only as far as your research that you go on, And some people would say, well, what the fuck do that got to do with me being from here? I mean, it may not have nothing to do with you being from here. Maybe that's not something that you interested in. Okay, maybe the only aspect of this interest is that you're just interested in just saying that you are Indian, and that's it. So the hell with all the other stuff that they find here. The hell with all the other cultures that they find here. Well, I'm not that. You don't even know who you are and what you are because we have been lied to, and we have a lot of different other people, such as researchers, that don't understand it neither. They just write they take certain texts from different from other researchers who didn't know what the fuck they was talking about, that just took other texts from other researchers. You know what I'm saying? And that's not how I do my research at all. I look for the critical talking points. I look for the things that connect to this continent. Now, you can say, boom, we have heard that the original Ten Commandments was found in the Americas. Now, outside of our primitive Indian thinking, we would think that that came here from somebody else. Somebody else brought that to this continent. We would never ponder and say, well, damn, I mean, what would be the likelihood that our people here had that same history or had that same, text that we find in the Bible already here, or these laws, because the Ten Commandments will be laws, that basically makes you refrain from the lower self or helps you control the lower self. And that's what most of these religions are about. Most of these religions help you control the lower self by telling you the lower self is the devil and the higher self, which is the L's, or because whatever you call your higher power. I call my higher power Elohim. And a lot of motherfuckers don't understand that neither, but that's on them. So, the higher self will be dealing with what? Love, communication, spirituality, and intuitiveness. And the lower self will be power, sexuality, and survival. Okay. Now, too much of the lower self will turn you into what we consider to be a devil, but a balance of it, because you have to have survival in order to make it in this world. You have to have sexuality in order to procreate or reproduce, you know what I'm saying, your offsprings, right? You have to have certain aspects of power in order to survive as well, right? But too much power is not good for you. Too much sexuality is not good for you. And too much survival, thinking that everything is about survival, is not good for you, right? So that's what a lot of these different religions and a lot of these different schools of thought focus on. The Ten Commandments: Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not do this, because all of these things are by wise men or by the people that came before you, are like devilish or lower self thinking. Now let's think about a lie, for example, right? Most people lie because some people are scared to face the truth, and some people are scared to face the consequences from telling the truth. So that will be a what? A form of survival, right? Um, Murder will be what? A form of power or a form of survival too, right? Or a form of sexuality, because you have certain individuals that might murder you over a woman. You know what I'm saying? And it goes on and on and on and on and on. So we find, when you're researching the Americas in its entirety, not just certain um, areas of the America, but just the Americas in its entirety, we find different aspects of that among our culture, even in the South, or what you assume to be the South, or for that point, going outside the South into some of these conjoining islands and into what we consider to be South America. Because under my understanding, Central America was part of the South as well. You know what I'm saying? But what are you talking about, Ahanu? I wasn't taught Central America was part of the South. Yeah, well, if you research, and you'll see maps, or you'll see maps of Florida being connected all the way into the I forgot the connection that connect what we consider to be Central America into South America. Then I can't think of it right now, but Florida went all the way out into what we assume Central America is. And that's only when you really start doing the real research to find that out. So even when we talk about a lot of these terms, so and back to what I was saying about some of these Europeans that I've heard. Now I was listening to a lady, couple, I think probably about maybe 6, 7 months ago, and she was talking about Jackal Island, right, in South Carolina, and she was saying how and I'm not saying that she everything she was saying is right and exact, but it only connects with the information, some of the information that I already have myself. And she was saying how they built a lot of these structures on top of Canaanite temples. Now, motherfucker, like, what no Canaanites? I'm just saying, we don't know what it is. If you don't do the research, you ain't gonna find out nothing. You only gonna find out what you specializes or what your research leads you to. But this one particular individual saying that it was Canaanite temples in South Carolina. Yes. And she also referred to a lot of the so-called tribes there as the Timical. Now, we're familiar with the Timical being in Florida, but the Timical would be considered Muskogee, right? which probably will be part of the Yamasi or the different nations. Because let's stop. I don't fuck with that tribe shit. That tribe shit is what these Europeans created to basically like kind of like make put you in the primitive aspect. Because if you look at yourself from having a nation, then you would say, well, these had to be civilized people to be able to come in unity with other surrounding people around them. Because for you to be a nation, meaning you have to be basically in you have to have peace among each other. You know what I'm saying? And even when we was reading American Indian Encyclopedia, they were saying that like through what we consider South America and all the way into Central and North America, that they had peace for up to I think it was up to 500 years or 1,000 years, right? Now that's only according to their timeline, okay? Because maybe that 1,000 years might have stopped when these people started pulling the resources and start having us fight for the resources. Because before that, everything was of abundance. We all had agriculture. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't have all the different agriculture. I mean, well, I don't say agriculture, but the things that's produced from agriculture. Like I always say, lemons, for example. Certain parts of the South don't grow lemons, so the only way you're gonna get lemons is from where it's a real where it's real heat climbing at, such as Florida, or certain parts outside of Florida also grows lemons, right? But we see lemons in the South. We see our ancestors making lemon meringue pie and things of that nature, right? So that had to be something that was being traded amongst us, or not even traded. It was just bartered, saying, "All right, well, boom, you got 2 cases of lemons. We in Georgia, we gonna give you 3 cases of peaches," and so forth and so forth. All right. So dealing with these terms, okay, a lot of people, they gravitate towards the Indian thing because that's where most of the treaties and that's where most of that's what the European allow you to gravitate. And you think by you gravitating towards that, that's the only way that you can access whatever he has to give you from that term. Okay. But you can use the term without being a term. The term is just an observation of you being in the Americas. It don't mean that that is the I want to say that is the entire thing that you really are. Okay, because you have to understand that we was highly civilized people here in Americas. Okay, now I know some people don't get that. I mean, that's not my fault. You don't get that. That's not my fault. You don't understand a lot of this stuff. If you go back and look at a lot of bills I've done, we have done bills. Well, I have done bills on pyramids. I've done bills on um, a lot of the structures here. I've done bills on the science. I've done bills on the culture. I've done bills on the people. All right. So that comes from me listening first. That don't come from me just talking. You know what I'm saying? I had to get the idea from me researching or sitting down hearing certain individuals talk about this. Now, am I bound to that individual because I heard him talk about it? Hell no, I'm not bound to no. I'm not bound to no one, and that including people that think they are part of this community. I'm not bound to none of y'all. Okay, am I connected to y'all? Yeah, but I'm not under. I'm not nobody motherfucking student. Well, I'm gonna say I'm a student of everyone because I can learn from everyone, but I'm not bound to nobody's fucking rule. okay, when it comes to this history or it comes to this fucking science, all right? So, with that being said, if I call myself a Moor, I can't I can't get mad at you if you don't understand what the fuck that what I'm saying. Cause a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people, oh, you part of MS. I mean, and see that comes from people who don't do no fucking research. Period. Oh, we didn't call ourselves more. We didn't call ourselves Indians neither, because Indian mean Nino Indio, and I've showed that plenty of fucking times. So you need to go back and do it instead of worrying about these different individuals. You need to be worrying about what title do you want to subject yourself to? Because I'm not subjected to no motherfucking title. I'm subjected to me being the first inhabitants of this land, meaning the first inhabitants, meaning I can extract all of these cultures that they found here without limiting myself to just being one particular fucking title. And this is what people don't understand. Now, I do law too, or legalese, all right, because law is under their title. So I don't. I study legalese. I've studied all of the people who deal with legalese, all of it, and I have tried everything. See, most people talk. They haven't done none of this shit to see if it works. They haven't done none of this shit to see if it works. You still got people right now who are recognized as so-called nations. And these people giving them motherfucking crumbs. They're giving them fucking crumbs. They're giving them crumbs. Meanwhile, Native Americans got fucking casinos. They got casinos. But that's still something that they gave them. Okay? When you know who the fuck you are, you claim that. And you basically extract whatever benefits it is that you supposed to receive, not from what somebody want to give you. You understand what I'm saying? That's the whole purpose of trying to find out or becoming what you consider to be a first inhabitant, um, ancestor of the Americas. It's not just a designation of a term. It's not just a designation of a culture. It's not just a designation of one particular area. It's not. It's not. It goes well beyond that. It goes well beyond that. It goes well beyond that. So me myself, I'm kind of tired of even focusing on a lot of this bullshit. That's why I had to step away from this shit, man. Because this shit fucks with your psyche, man. It really does. And some of the individuals are trying to keep on having it. Every year that I've been in this, it's always been a more Indian thing. Oh, we not more. Every motherfucking year I've been in before a lot of individuals that's talking about this shit now. And A1 or Ahanu have survived it all. I've survived it all. And I always stood on my square. I had the spirits, I had the spirit of the Tantanins one, which I call A1 from day one. And understand that. And like I told you, the autonomous ones is basically an energy of our ancestors that's speaking through us. I'm not A1, I'm a Hanu, okay? And through me understanding myself, I had to kind of understand that. I had to understand that. Can I still put down a heavyweight jam? I don't know. Maybe I can. I just haven't been feel like doing no real research like that because I'm dealing with life on life terms right now. Um, but eventually, when I really get into the whole production of culture freedom and everything, then you'll see probably my greatest work, right? But Yeah, I've survived it all. I've survived it all. And I've seen people drop out from Darkman X to this person, that person, on to what we talking about fucking today. And the people today who's talking about this shit is people who came through my platform, whether people admit it or fucking not. Okay? Now, I'm not taking responsibility for nothing. All I'm telling you is I provided a platform that united certain individuals, that this person came through that individual and that person came through this individual and that person came through this individual, as a, just a meeting point where we can all kind of build on on the issues that's surrounding us. Okay, so understand that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these other individuals wasn't lending their platforms to let people come on and talk. They really wasn't. You ask some people who was, and certain people who wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Certain people who listen to that person, they believe everything that person says. I don't want you to believe in nothing I say. Just take whatever information that you may be focusing on, if I provide that information, and just apply it. Apply it. Fuck all that talking. Fuck all that back and forth bickering on fucking YouTube about this shit. Put that shit into reality. Put it into reality. I dare you. I dare you to put it in reality. I dare you. But like I said, a lot of stuff is just entertainment. A lot of people came here to be entertained, and that's why they fall victim to the entertainment aspects of this history, or some of these platforms, right? Now, I always got to give a shout out to my brother Jag and my brother AP for bringing American Indian Encyclopedia to me, because like once we went through that shit, that showed me that we are fucking gods, man. Even though they say but they said American Indian, Hanu. I mean, I don't have to be focused on the term. The term is just the observation, and the destination is you being first inhabitants of this land. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. Now, whether or not you understand that and you say stuck on stupid, that's on you. I'm well past that. I can say I'm a Moor and not give a fuck about what nobody say, or open my platform and let anybody come up here and challenge me about the term. I can say that, and I've been saying that the whole time. And people still fuck with me. Why is that? Why is that? And then I got a lot of these goofies that don't understand will come on here and challenge me about it. But my grandmother said we was Indians. My grandmother said this. Listen, I love my grandmother to death. I love all my grandmothers. But my grandmother also had a picture of motherfucking Jesus on her fucking wall. Okay? So that means that she wasn't she knew certain aspects, but she didn't know everything. That's what your ancestors left for you. Your ancestors left a clue in order for you to find out how far we are entrenched in this continent. That was just the observation. That was just the observation. You know what I'm saying? Shit, today, nowadays, you got grandparents, you know, shit, I'm 45. I could be a grandparent. You know what I'm saying? But you may have grandparents that may have told their grandchildren and grandchildren that they were slaves. And this thing go on and on and on as far as that. It's up to how far you want to go with it. So, like I said, man, I haven't been doing no bills. I haven't been focusing on this. I haven't been focusing on, I chime in to listen to AP sometimes. But as far as this information, it's already like, I don't think at this point in time that I'm gonna hear nothing that I haven't heard before. Unless you find a motherfucking spaceship up under one of these mounds, or you know what I'm saying, or something like that. Uh, I'm just waiting to hear something new. I'm tired of hearing the same, oh, we tribes and we no. I'm tired. I want to hear something new about this, about our history. I'm tired of people just running in circles saying the same goddamn thing. Like I said, and I'll tell you this too. These clowns try to tear down the Algonquin conquest of the Mediterranean and didn't ask themselves, well, damn, okay, just like all books, we can throw away a lot of shit that's in the books, but are there any clues in this motherfucking book to tell us something that we need to know? Yeah, it's a plenty of clues in it. And the funny thing about it is the same clowns. I'm not even gonna mention these clowns' names, but you motherfuckers is listening. You know who the fuck you are. Use books, and every book they use, don't nobody question none of the shit that's in their books, because people out here, cover your ears if you have a sensitive ears. People out here be dick riding in this community. People be holding on to motherfuckers like they fucking, like, you know how motherfucker piggyback ride shit, motherfucker put their arms around your neck and shit. That's how a lot of these motherfuckers do in this community. A lot of motherfuckers be piggyback riding on motherfuckers and shit. Just like, oh, he said this, so it's gotta be true. Listen, don't take nothing I say to that point. Do your motherfucking research on it, and if it's something that we can agree on, let's agree on it. If it's something we can't agree on, keep it motherfucking moving. But when you start coming to me, challenging me on certain aspects, I'm going to ask you to provide, show and prove what you got, and then I can show and prove what I got. Period. Period. And if, like we say, you know, in the ancient Masonic mystery, ancient, whatever the book is, all right, tells you America was the first land out of the waters. Okay, so America was the first land out of the waters. Then, duh, wouldn't that tell you that the people from here had to go and inhabit other places and teach the science that we had here other places? And I don't even, when I say teach the science, I don't even think that it was other people in these places to teach shit. I think that we left from here and just went to other places and just set up different colonies in other places. Now, some other people would say, well, no, there was people there and we taught them. I mean, we can ponder that too. But let's take from what they saying, what he's saying. He said America was the first land out of the motherfucking water. And if you find out that America had its hands in Egypt, not we went over there and built with them, but we actually went over there and took the science and built that shit over there and made people our subjects if it was people there. That's how deep this shit goes in America. But I'm sorry, some of you don't understand that. I'm sorry. I am so fucking sorry. That's why I stepped away. Because I just be, you ever see the meme when the motherfucker put his hand over his face, like, oh, shaking his head, like, oh my God, I can't do this no more. Okay? So, like I said, even with that book I was saying, and shout out to no, I ain't gonna mention his name. You know who the fuck you are. But the Algonquin Conquest. Now, as well as other so-called books we got or literature that you can take certain key texts from out the book. And you might read the whole goddamn book, but this one particular passage might connect to the research that you're doing. Not the whole everything in the goddamn book. This one particular text or passage might connect to the research that you already doing, as well as reading the entirety of the book. You can store that text away just in case if you do run across information that pertains to any of the information that you read in the fucking book. Okay? It's not taking the whole book and saying, oh, I got this whole thing is well beyond some goddamn book. It's well beyond a book. It's well beyond a PDF. It's well beyond an article. It's well beyond a scientific article. This shit is well beyond that. It's well beyond that. So, I mean, like I said, man, look, man, I'm not arguing with nobody about this shit, going back and forth. You believe what the fuck you believe. All I know, I'm going forward, and I operate with what I operate, and I have remedies. I have remedies from what I operate as. I heard somebody brought to my attention, said, how can you be a Moor and be an Indian is not taxed? Because I'm not a goddamn Indian. I'm an Aborigine. I'm first inhabitant. I know the difference. These people, I'm not under the subject of these people in their fucking terms. I'm not under the subject of these people in their terms. I can go in there as whatever I want to go into as long as I go back to the term Aborigine. First inhabitant. Aborigine don't mean you're an Indian. It just means you're first inhabitant. Now it's up to you to see who was the other inhabitants of this motherfucking continent as opposed to what you think a goddamn Indian is. But A1, you well no, but but Ahanu, you when you walk up and you do culture freedom, you are asking these people, are they Indian? You ever see the meme of Batman smacking Robin? It's only an observation for these people to realize that they are in America, dummy. It's not a fucking destination. And that's what people don't fucking understand. It's only an observation for these people to realize because when you use that word Indian, then they would say, all right, well, boom. Well, that means if I'm that means that I was here before slavery, and that's the whole point of it. It's not just to use a term to say, oh, where we that? We that? And quote my words. I'm telling you, we are more than that. Quote my words, I'm telling you, we more than that. And just remember, probably 5 years from now, when people really start doing real research and a lot of this other stuff start coming out, you're gonna find out that we are more than just some goddamn Indian. You're gonna find that out. And you're gonna find out a lot of these different, what you assume to be tribes and all that shit is nothing but languages. And some of these motherfuckers ain't nothing but lakes and areas, man. Some of them ain't nothing but lakes and fucking areas. Like what tribe is that? In the Geechee. The Geechee is only named after an area around the Ogeechee River. But motherfuckers don't understand that. The Gole is only called the Gole because they inhabited the coast of what they say running from South America. I mean, running from South Carolina all the way into Georgia, all the way into fucking Florida. The whole coast is called the Gule. So they call the people the Gule. Or what is bastardized now, the Gala. Okay? So once you understand that, so it go well beyond just some goddamn term or some damn area or some damn lake or some damn mountain or some damn whatever the fuck you want to call it that these people called you, or not even your people calling you that, the people who's doing the historical writing is calling you. So like I said, man, I ain't got time to go back and forth with nobody. I'm not bound to nobody. I'm not bound to no Dane Calloway. I'm not bound to this person. I'm not bound to that person. Do I respect some of these individuals? Yes, I do. But at the end of the day, I got my own motherfucking research. I'm not bound to nobody. I have my own fucking research. And obviously, I have been doing something right. You know what I'm saying? Up until this point, whether people agree, disagree with me, You might not like my approach. You might not like me cursing, but it is what it is. This stuff ain't rehearsed. This is not something that I supposed to be sitting up here, fucking writing down in my notebook and trying to sound like I'm some guy. I don't do that. This stuff comes from the energy, man. The energy is the autonomous one. And see, mentally, I had to separate myself from being that. Because like I said, you all have the energy of the autonomous one. Whether you might call it something else. But that's the energy that I gravitate towards. You understand what I'm saying? That's why it's not about my personal characteristic or me sticking my face in this goddamn computer or talking about glamorizing certain things. Cause that's not what I'm not here for that, man. I'm not here for that. I'm only here to give my piece to the puzzle and put my 2 cents out here for the people to understand. And you take from that information and you learn and I pass the baton to many people, but many people they would never tell you that. They would never tell you that the baton was passed to them, because some people need to humble their motherfucking selves, man. Some people need to humble themselves, man. Half these people who talk didn't have platforms fucking 13 months ago. 13 months ago. But will never give you credit or will never give the knowledge that you put out there credit. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. Because like I said, it's not about giving nobody credit. It's about taking from the information and you know what I'm saying, you furthering the information. But don't get stuck on certain terms. Don't get stuck on these certain terms that basically compartmentalizes you. Because that's even what they do with the history and these cultures and everything. They compartmentalize a lot of this shit, man, to the point to where you can't go outside of that circle, because if you go out the side of that circle, you don't understand what the fuck you are looking at or what you are doing. Period. Period. And that's what people do. They compartmentalize their brain. And you cannot be a free thinker if you do that. Sorry, you just can't. You can't be a free thinker. Because that means now you can't listen to Taj Tariq Bey. You can't listen to this certain individual. You can't listen to this individual. Oh, he's this. And that's when people do that, they trap themselves in the motherfucking corner, yo. Because they don't know the injustice that they doing to certain individuals that make and learn something from these individuals. Because you are so much, you are piggybacking on, you are holding on tight and piggybacking on people's backs to that point to where you can't even really let go and get some of the greater understanding from some of these people who are well more researched than some of these motherfuckers who even talking. There's some of these people who even fucking talking. Every Friday, I listen to Taj Tariq Bey on Awakening Minds. Shout out to Dr. G. Every fucking Friday, I listen to him. And every Friday, he drops something about Aborigine history and how it connects to Moorish history, or what you assume to be Moors or the Moors or whatever the fuck you want to consider, because people don't got to understand. It's just a descriptive term. Was there certain just like right now, you got black people. You got, all right, Michael Jordan, for example. Everybody can't do what Michael Jordan do, but Michael Jordan is still what we consider to be black, or according to your understanding of what melanated people are called. Everybody not Michael Jordan. Everybody not Tiger Woods. Everybody not this individual who have this special gift. Some motherfuckers are a gardener, or some motherfuckers can only be a taxi driver or whatever. But do we have great people amongst us that are black? Yeah, we do. And that's the same aspect that you put this history in, man. The same aspect. People came into this shit thinking Europeans came here and did what they did to us over here, just to find out that these people was just freed after the Secession War, the Civil War. These people were slaves, man. They were slaves, man. The whole time. They're not originally from Europe, so where are they originally from? And where did they come from? And what is their claim to fame? Like I was telling brother the other day, Rome never existed. That's just their way of implementing themselves in the history. Say, look, we was dead. Look, we was dead. Look, we was nah. You wasn't dead. Where did you come from? Where did you come from? So we think these people came here from Europe because if you didn't know better, you wouldn't know that all the people that inhabited Europe, all the way from Russia, all the way to the goddamn Mediterranean and into um what we call that shit, I can't think of the name of it right now, but all the way from Russia and all the way down to the Mediterranean, it was what we consider to be Negroes or melanated people that inhabited that land. And you have to ask yourself and do the research, where did Europeans come from and how did they get there? And understand that these people ain't had no power. See, these people tell so many different stories about America to make your ass look like your ancestors was goddamn punks, to where just anybody came here and just ran anything. And I see that in the history that all that shit is bullshit. When I did the bill dealing with OJ Dunn, and how he was the motherfucking lieutenant governor of Louisiana in 1865. And even the European Joker that I put on my platform, the one that had the show on Fox. I can't think of his name. It's gonna come to me in a minute. And how he was saying that you had black judges in 17, the first, according to his research. He said the first black judge was in 1758. How? What white man will make a black man a judge in 1758, considering the fucking history that these people have taught us? Unless we was in power the whole goddamn time and they changed the goddamn history, and then they want you to think that they was running shit the whole goddamn time when you was running shit the whole time. But you can't fathom how you lost control of that. See, that's the point that you need to focus on. How did you lose control of you being or not being in power, or you being in, I don't want to say dominance, or, you know what I'm saying? How did we get to the situation where we at now? And that's the part that people get, people they can't comprehend. They can't think past that. So what they do, they submit back to it. Oh, well, these people had to be in power, because there's no way I could think of how did we lose power and how we're in the situation we're in now. Okay? I always say, shout out to my brother Monty Bay. Shout out to him. And like I said, if anybody got a problem with him, you got a problem with me. Period. Because that brother bought that Sir Solomon Jones bill to me, and that was a crucial part of the puzzle that I was looking for. That goes with the OJ Dunn story and goes with some of these other stories that we trying to piece back together. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, if a person I build with come through my platform, other individuals supposed to show that man respect. Because if you attack somebody that I put on my platform and I speak about, then you attacking me. Period. Then that basically discredited me as being some agent or being somebody not to be fucking trusted. And I don't understand why these motherfuckers don't understand that. If I speak on somebody, meaning that I vouch for them. The same way when we was in the streets. If you vouch for an individual, and they find you, you know what I'm saying, and you vouching for this individual, mean you done did your homework on this brother. And you done had conversations with him or with this individual to where you see that this brother's a good-hearted brother. But certain other people have an agenda. And you got to stay away from the agendas. Because when you have an agenda, that means you are trying to basically control people's minds or pull certain people into areas where your level of thinking only goes. Okay? I'm not here to get along with everybody. And I don't care who don't get along with me. But at the end of the day, you're going to respect me. You're going to respect the research and the information that I put out there, whether you agree or you don't agree. But understand this. A lot of these individuals in this community, has some connection to me, period. No matter if they want to tell you that, no matter if they want to deny it, no matter if they don't want to acknowledge it, they do though. And that's a fucking fact. So I don't want to make this bill too long or whatever. I don't want to make this bill too long. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, man, anybody got anything that they don't agree with me on, just keep it moving. I don't even want to hear about your disagreements, man. I'm not here. I ain't got time to focus on what you disagreeing with. Just continue to do your research and try to grow and stop being compartmentalized. Okay? And like I said, man, I'm waiting to hear something new from some of you motherfuckers, man. I'm waiting to hear something new. Until then, I can't even watch half these people's channel, man, because I don't hear nothing new. Nothing new. I'm waiting to hear something new. I'm waiting to hear something that haven't been spoken on. But it's like everybody just regurgitate the same information that motherfuckers were talking about 2 or 3 years ago that other people then created these talking points, man. And not trying to be cocky, because you can never be cocky when you humble. I'm a humble brother, whether or not you may think so through the profanity or through my passion of this information. You know what I'm saying? Really, man. When I first came into this shit, man, I was a goddamn, like, this whole Pan-African and Sinetta shit, man. That shit have you being a racist, hating people, and just like, you know what I'm saying? And until you really step outside your box, man, you see a lot of people is just people, man. And a lot of these foreigners, man. And I learned that through just doing business um with a lot of these people. A lot of these people respect you when you know who the fuck you are. They respect you, yo. They respect the hell out of you, yo. They respect the shit out of you, and you just don't even know it. You think a lot of these people hate us, or they look at us, as just motherfucking niggas who sag their pants and just tote guns and wear bandanas and fitted hats backwards or whatever. But that's not true, man. That's not true at all, man. And I see that through my everyday experience and my evolution just as a I want to say just third dimensional being or a spiritual being having what we assume to be a human, or whatever term that word human denotes, whether it denotes the flesh and blood and bones, or it denotes to just whatever it denotes of basically, of you applying yourself in this dimension or in this reality or on this landmass or in this habitat that we live in, um or this planet or this infinite plane or this flat plane or whatever the fuck you want to use to describe you know our situation here and our conditions here on this planet. So With that being said, man, shout out to everybody, man. Peace to all the Aborigines, North and South. Shout out to all the people, all the brothers and sisters in the conjoining islands, as well as the brothers and sisters that have been, well, not sent across seas, that actually left from here and went over there. Because, we got to get out of the mind. Ain't nobody send your ass nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You are the goddamn gods. And that's something you need to understand. You need to understand you are, even if you're not what you consider a Indian, because the term Indian ain't nothing but a goddamn phrase, meaning Nino Indio, meaning children of the elves or children of God. Okay? And we all know that we came from the all, or we came from whatever energy that governs this motherfucking plane or this reality or whatever the hell you want to call it, man. We came from that. So you are that. You know what I'm saying? Just like Psalms 28 say, you're all gods, but you're going to die like men. Meaning that you have that spirit or that ether from the elves that reside within you. And your physical composition is made up of that. Earth, fire, water, and air. Okay? These are all the elements that basically creates the living organism that we call a human being. Okay? And the ether, which is your spirit that came from the all or whatever you want to call. So this shit is beyond being some goddamn motherfucking nigga who dancing around some damn powwow or something. Just an observation of you being from America. Extract that information and see how that shit applies to your reality and see how it applies to who you are. Family is important, but family is very important. And I'm not telling you it's not. You get with your family and, y'all eating soul food or whatever cuisine that you guys eat these days or whatever. You take aspects from your family and, and if you family orientated, maybe you might not go outside your family, but some of us are searching for more than just family, because we have family outside of our immediate family as well. So understand that, man. Love and light to everybody out there, man. You guys keep on doing your research or whatever. For the most part, like I said, I actually just started a new business, so I've been up for damn near 16, 18 hours a goddamn day, focusing on it. So I didn't have no time to extract the spirit of the autonomous ones to come to you guys to do these builds. But you know what though? Don't worry about it. You guys are all autonomous ones. So y'all all got the energy of the ancestors. No matter what you may call it, I call them autonomous one. For the most part. And like I said, I'm not A1. A1 is an energy. It's a spirit that was sent through the ancestors to awaken the people up and apply that so we can find out who the fuck we are. My name is Ahanu Kiel. For the most part, I'm a student of this. I'm a father. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just a spiritual being having a human experience, or what you assume to be a human experience. So with that being said, man, I will be back. Probably be popping up on some platforms when I get an opportunity. Probably be coming back with some more bills. I got to get my brother Coda Bay. And I definitely will probably get Imani back on here, for the most part, as well as others. We probably get some heavyweight jams done when I do get time. But like I said, right now, my mind is focusing on doing something totally different, and it's really focusing on getting this culture freedom out, because it's been long overdue. So with that being said, man, shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters. Shout out to everybody who been rocking with the energy from day one. But like I said, man, like at the end of the movie Juice, he said, man, you got the juice now. Now y'all got the juice. So do the right thing with it, man. Further your information. Don't take none of this shit you hear a lot of these people, because a lot of people you listen to are babies in this shit. Don't take a lot of information that you hear other people say literally. Further your information and see how it applies to you. Okay? So with that being said, man, peace to gods, peace to goddesses, and shout out to everybody, man. Peace.